Imagine spending 30 years building a product the world barely understood. Investors questioned it, competitors overlooked it, and for decades, most people associated your company with one thing: video games. Then, almost overnight, your technology became the foundation of the biggest technological revolution of the century. That's the story of Nvidia. Today, Nvidia is one of the most valuable companies on Earth, worth more than many entire countries. Its chips power ChatGPT, advanced AI systems, self-driving cars, scientific research, and some of the world's most powerful computers. But here's what's fascinating. Nvidia didn't become an AI giant by accident. Its success started with a risky bet made decades ago. A bet that almost nobody saw coming. The story begins in 1993. Three engineers came together with a vision. One of them was a Taiwanese-American engineer named Jensen Huang. At the time, the computer industry was exploding. Personal computers were becoming more common. Gaming was growing rapidly. But computer graphics were still limited. Jensen believed graphics would become one of the most important parts of computing. Most people didn't. In fact, many experts thought graphics chips were a niche market. Interesting, but not revolutionary. Still, Nvidia pushed forward. The company focused on creating specialized processors capable of rendering complex visuals much faster than traditional computer chips. These processors became known as GPUs, graphics processing units. At the time, they were mainly used by gamers. Nobody imagined they would one day power artificial intelligence, not even Nvidia. Starting a technology company sounds exciting. Surviving one is another story. During Nvidia's early years, competition was brutal. Many technology companies were fighting for the same market. Several rivals disappeared completely. There were moments when Nvidia itself faced serious challenges. Products failed. Deadlines were missed. The company's future was uncertain. According to Jensen Huang himself, Nvidia came dangerously close to failure multiple times. Most startups don't survive those situations. Nvidia did. Instead of giving up, the company kept improving its technology year after year. While others focused on short-term gains, Nvidia invested heavily in long-term innovation. At the time, that decision looked risky. Years later, it would prove brilliant. Then, something unexpected happened. Researchers began experimenting with Nvidia's GPUs, not for gaming, for science. They discovered something remarkable. A traditional CPU is designed to handle tasks sequentially, one after another. But GPUs can process thousands of calculations simultaneously. For graphics, that's useful. For artificial intelligence, it's revolutionary. Training an AI model requires enormous amounts of mathematical calculations, billions, sometimes trillions. And GPUs turned out to be exceptionally good at handling those workloads. Slowly, universities and research labs started adopting Nvidia hardware. Then major technology companies followed. What started as gaming hardware was becoming the engine of modern AI, and most people had no idea it was happening. But hardware alone wasn't enough. Nvidia made another decision that would change its future. Back in 2006, the company launched a software platform called CUDA. Most people outside the technology world have never heard of it. Yet CUDA may be one of the most important software platforms ever created. It allowed developers and researchers to use Nvidia GPUs for purposes beyond gaming. Scientists could run simulations, engineers could solve complex problems, and eventually, AI researchers could train machine learning models. Over time, thousands of developers built their work around CUDA. The result? Even when competitors produced powerful chips, Nvidia had already built an entire ecosystem around its technology. And ecosystems are incredibly difficult to replace. For years, Nvidia was growing steadily. Then came the breakthrough that changed everything: ChatGPT. When OpenAI released ChatGPT in late 2022, the world got its first real glimpse of what modern AI could do. Millions of people started using AI. Businesses rushed to adopt it. Investors poured billions into the industry. And every major technology company suddenly wanted more computing power. A lot more. The problem? Advanced AI systems require enormous numbers of specialized chips, and Nvidia happened to make the best ones. Almost overnight, demand exploded. OpenAI needed Nvidia. Microsoft needed Nvidia. Google needed Nvidia. Meta needed Nvidia. The entire AI industry needed Nvidia. And Nvidia was ready, because it had spent decades preparing for a moment nobody could predict. Investors quickly realized something important. Nvidia wasn't just selling computer hardware anymore, it was selling the infrastructure of the AI revolution. Just as oil fueled the industrial age, computing power is fueling the AI age, and Nvidia became one of the biggest suppliers of that power. Its revenue surged, its profits soared, its stock price exploded. The company crossed the $1 trillion mark, then climbed even higher. What looked like an overnight success was actually the result of 3 decades of preparation. 3 decades of building technology the world would eventually need. Today, whenever you hear about breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, there's a good chance Nvidia is somewhere behind the scenes. From ChatGPT and AI assistants to medical research and self-driving vehicles, Nvidia's technology powers much of the modern AI ecosystem. But perhaps the most important lesson isn't about chips or artificial intelligence, it's about patience. Because Nvidia's story reminds us that the biggest opportunities often look ordinary at first. Sometimes the future arrives suddenly. But the companies shaping it have been preparing for decades. And as the AI race accelerates, one question remains. Can Nvidia stay on top? Or is another company quietly making a 30-year bet of its own? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Leap Tech Tips for more documentaries about technology, AI, innovation, and the future. And let me know in the comments, will Nvidia still dominate AI in 10 years, or will another company take its place?